and Spanish brand's lineup of electric vehicles. If you want an electric family car that stands out from the crowd, then the Cupra Tavascan is it. The head-turning looks don't come at ease. The expense of practicality either, because there's plenty of space inside for passengers and luggage. Cupra is a sporting brand. The Tavascan isn't quite the leading light of the class for sporty handling. That award goes to the Ford Explorer and Ford Capri twins, while the firm ride and inconsistent brake are 2 minus points for the Spanish model. And then there's the price, which is high when compared with rivals in the class that are equally capable. Compared with other brands in the Volkswagen group, Cupra has turned up pretty late for the all-electric SUV party. While VW, Skoda, and Audi have offered a car in the full-size SUV class for some time, Seat's sporty offshoot has had to make do with just the Cupra-born hatchback until now, with the arrival of the Tavascan. Still, given the patchy reception to some of those earlier MEV platform cars when they arrived, it has provided Cupra with time to learn from previous shortcomings and create a more rounded package, at least in some areas. The Tavascan is a 5-door, 5-seat family car that we'd describe more as a coupe SUV than a full SUV, courtesy of its swoopy styling. It's the largest car in the Cupra lineup, bigger even than the recently launched combustion-engined Terramar, and it's priced quite high too, with the range kicking off at around $47,500. That gets you behind the wheel of the V1 model, which features a 77 kWh battery connected to a 282 bhp electric motor that drives the rear wheels. This powertrain is also offered in V2 trim for an extra $6,000 over V1. 2 motors are fitted to the VZ1, which starts from around $56,000. So there is 4-wheel drive and a total power output of 335 bhp. The top spec model is the VZ2, which adds $6,000 to the VZ1's price. Both of these models feature the same 77 kWh battery as the V1 and V2 models. Performance and driving experience. VW-derived running gear has been tuned to deliver a sporty drive, but it's not all good news. Pros: 1. Well-balanced chassis allows decent handling. Adaptive dampers offer a wide range of ability. Strong grip and rapid acceleration are highlights. Cons: Part 1. Inconsistent feel to the brake pedal toes. Standard dampers deliver an overly firm ride, tight rearward visibility hampered by sporty coupe SUV shape. The Tavascan's powertrains are impressive, but the choice is more limited than in some other alternatives in this segment. With no entry-level model offered in the vein of the 168 bhp option available in the Ford Capri or Explorer, 2 cars that use the same running gear as the Tavascan, the Cupra's base price is high. Instead, the range kicks off with a single motor model which sends a healthy 282 bhp to the rear wheels, while the 4-drive model has, as the name suggests, 4-wheel drive, plus 335 bhp from its twin-motor setup. You pay for this performance, though with the top-spec version of the Tavascan costing more than $60,000. Electric motors, 0-16 acceleration, and top speed. The Tavascan fitted with a rear-mounted electric motor has more than enough performance, more than most buyers will need, in fact. The 0-62 Munich Sprint takes 6.8 seconds, so few buyers will require the 335 bhp option. Those who do will get some serious straight-line shove, though, with the instant torque, all 545 and many of it, deployed to the road via all 4 wheels to deliver a 0-62 km time of 5.5 seconds. That's only a few tenths shy of Cupra's fastest petrol-powered performance cars, but with no gearbox to contend with, it feels even quicker in many driving situations. Both versions of the Cupra Tavascan are limited to a top speed of 112 mph. Town driving, visibility, and parking. Keen handling and a smooth powertrain impress, but in some situations the ride is a little too sporty, and the calibration of the brakes needs some work. Around town there's a firmness to the damping in. The Tavascan, which certainly sets its stall out as one of the more sporting options in this segment. The damping is better than on some contenders though, and it doesn't have the slightly brittle feeling you get from a Kia EV6. This is because the Cupra's springs and dampers are better at taking the edge off the harshest bumps. We have 2 caveats here. However, our time behind the wheel in the UK has been in a car on 19-inch wheels, the smallest available. And also, we're yet to try the Tavascan with adaptive dampers in the UK. Larger wheels can make the ride more fidgety, while our experience with the adaptive dampers on the Tavascan on smoother European roads saw a marked change to the car's demeanor as the ride tightened up significantly in the performance and Cupra settings. B-road driving and handling. Much like in the smaller Born electric hatchback, one of the Tavascan's main weaknesses is the feedback through the brake pedal. Initially, this gives quite a firm, positive response, but press harder, and there seems to be a centimeter or two of travel where everything feels a bit soft and very little extra deceleration happens. A firmer shove brings back some more bite as the mechanical brakes chip in, but the transition between the motor regeneration and the interaction between discs and calipers is a little clumsy and not very reassuring. It's a shame, because elsewhere, the Cupra feels decent to drive. The steering is light and precise, and the rear-wheel drive model is sweetly balanced, capable of pushing the car gently through a turn as power is applied. You can never truly get away from the car's weight, but there is fun to be had on the right road. B-road driving and handling. Much like in the smaller Born electric hatchback, one of the Tavascan's main weaknesses is the feedback through the brake pedal. Initially, this gives quite a firm, positive response, but press harder and there seems to be a centimeter or two of travel where everything feels a bit soft and very little extra deceleration happens. A firmer shove brings back some more bite as the mechanical brakes chip in, but the transition between the motor regeneration and the interaction between discs and calipers is a little clumsy and not very reassuring. It's a shame, because elsewhere the Cupra feels decent to drive. The steering is light and precise, and the rear-wheel drive model is sweetly balanced, capable of pushing the car gently through a turn as power is applied. You can never truly get away from the car's weight, but there is fun to be had on the right road. Motorway driving and long-distance comfort. It's on the motorway where we'd wish for just a slightly more compliant suspension setup. Here, there is still some fidgeting, giving the impression that the Tavascan never truly settles down. That aside, the spacious cabin helps the motorway miles to slip by with little effort. There's more than enough power to make accelerating along slip roads and inclines and overtaking maneuvers feel effortless. It was very rare that we felt the need to explore the full travel of the throttle pedal on our test drive. Expert view on driving experience. Out on the road, the good points of the Tavascan's MEV platform are on full display, which is to say the motors are very refined and come with excellent response and clarity through the throttle pedal. Regenerative braking is controlled via paddles behind the steering wheel, and the system engages smoothly regardless of the chosen driver mode. Jordan Katsianis, senior staff writer, drove the Tavascan on the European launch model Power 62 2NP top speed Cupra Tavascan V1282VH P6.8 seconds 120 Cupra Tavascan VZ1 4-drive 335 bhp 5.5 seconds 100 range, charging and running costs. Once you overcome the high initial purchase cost, the Tavascan offers low running costs, pros cons decent efficiency compared with class rivals. Real-world range of 300 miles is possible. Solid residual values help finance costs. High list prices at the top of the range. Rivals offer faster DC charging speeds. No cheaper small battery option. Offered, charging at home is always the most cost-effective way to top up an EV, and for the launch of the Tavascan, Cupra has teamed up with OVO Energy to make things even cheaper. Sign up for the plan, and drivers will be offered 10,000 miles worth of free charging. Even when that runs out, it will be possible to top up at 7p per kilowatt, based on the 3.3 kWh efficiency we achieved when we tested the car in the chilly early spring. That means 10,000 miles of driving would cost $212. Factor in warmer summer months when efficiency improves, and that cost should fall even lower. A petrol car averaging 40 mpg and fueled at 140 a liter would cost $1,591 over the same distance. But all this doesn't compensate enough for the fact that the Tavascan is very pricey to buy. Electric range, battery life, and charge time are 3.3 kWh figure for the Tavascan came in cold weather, and with a mix of urban AB roads and motorway miles. If you do more low-speed and suburban driving, that figure will improve, and summer months will see the efficiency increase significantly too, to the point that a 300-mile real-world range should be entirely achievable. Charging speeds peak at 135 kWh on each model, which isn't as fast as some MEB-based cars, but still enables a 10 to 80% top-up in 28 minutes. Model battery size range insurance group Cupra. Tavascan V1 set 77 kW R337 miles, 34 Cupra. Tavascan VZ1 4-drive 77 kW 308 miles, 38 insurance groups. Insurance groups are higher for the Tavascan than for rivals such as the Ford Capri, with the Cupra ranging from Group 34 to 39. Tax the Tavascan's 3% benefit in kind, BIK banding, makes it a cheap option for company car drivers, although this rate applies to all zero-emission vehicles. The Cupra will also be eligible for vehicle excise duty, Fed road tax, with the high list prices meaning an annual cost of $620 for the first 5 years of paying it. Depreciation, with 3-year residual values estimated to vary between 46 to 49% according to the trim level, the Tavascan is about average for the class. Rivals, including the Ford Capri and Renault Scenic, hold their value slightly better, but the Cupra's depreciation figures are lower than for the majority of other VW Group electric vehicles. Interior, design and technology. A distinctive design and user-friendly infotainment mean the Tavascan gets a lot right. Inside pros-cons distinctive dashboard layout and design large touchscreen. Infotainment is easy to use. Copper detailing offers something different. Only physical buttons are on the steering wheel. Rear visibility limited by small windows, and no wiper touch-sensitive climate. Volume and light controls are fiddly. A striking design ensures the cabin is one of the most desirable in its class. While vastly improved infotainment tech makes the Tavascan far easier to recommend than Cupra models from even a couple of years ago. Interior and dashboard design. When the Tavascan concept was first revealed to the public, its cabin matched the exterior for drama. The sweeping dashboard connected to the center console through a floating Y-shaped central spine that looked like it had been beamed back from the future. And the best news is that those concept looks have made it to the production car largely unchanged. Yes, the steering wheel isn't trimmed in carbon fiber and shiny plastic. The digital instrument panel is a touch smaller, and the impractical white upholstery has been swapped for a more subdued shade. But the Cupra remains incredibly arresting. Inside. Materials and build quality. It's hard to knock the fit and finish too. The colors and materials look and feel classy. What limited physical switchgear there is appears fairly solid, and even where plastics are used, they don't detract from the overall experience. Sustainable materials have been used in the upholstery, with textiles created from up to 90% recycled polyester, while 50% of microfiber materials come from recycled sources. Infotainment, sat-nav, and stereo. The Tavascan's huge 15-inch touchscreen sits slightly awkwardly on top of the dash, but the system is fairly easy to use. Many of the foibles that affected early borns have been ironed out, and the Tavascan system is much more intuitive. It's a shame that the climate controls are confined to the screen, but they're fairly large and permanently positioned at the bottom of the display. Disabling the driver assist systems can be applied to a shortcut that's dragged down on the display. Ahead of the driver sits a digital display that will be very familiar to anyone who has driven a Cupra born, or, indeed, any of the other MEB-based products across the VW Group. It's a little on the small side, but it displays only useful information. A button on the steering wheel can bring up more detailed trip and driver assistance information. Expert view on design. The Tavascan has a pretty unique flaw when it comes to forward visibility. Slim vents at the leading edge of the bonnet are designed to improve aerodynamic efficiency, but they have the side effect of funneling road grime and water directly onto the windscreen in poor weather. Expect to get through plenty of washer fluid in the winter. Alex Ingram, chief reviewer, tested the Cupra Tavascan against the Ford Capri on UK roads. Boot space and practicality driving position feels snug, but there's plenty of space inside. For passengers and luggage pros cons. Sporty yet high-set driving position. Plenty of storage in center console, decent backseat comfort for 3. The boot is smaller than in the Class Best. A small glove box due to location of fuses. A false floor needed to make the boot area flat when the seats are folded. The overall wheelbase of the Tavascan is identical to that of its hatch sibling, the Born, but its taller roof and larger rear overhang make it the more spacious car overall. Dimensions and size. While the Cupra Tavascan shares a platform with the Ford Capri and Skoda Enyaq, it's slightly smaller than those two models, but it's also slightly longer than the Volkswagen ID.4 too. A wheelbase that's nearly 2.8 meters long is a match for those cars, and this means there's decent space inside, if not among the class best. Dimensions: length 4, 684 meter width, wood 1, 861 millimeter height 1, 597 millimeter number of seats, 5 boot space, 540 1,550 liters driving. Position: seats and space in the front Cupra has struck a great compromise with the Tavascan's driving position, making it feel sporty and snug while still delivering the lofty feeling that SUV drivers find so appealing. The seat and steering wheel offer plenty of adjustment and comfort, and are great overall. Rear visibility is a little compromised by that rakish roofline and small rear window though. Plus, it's worse in wet weather because there is no rear wiper. While the Tavascan still uses the fiddly touch-sensitive sliders that we've complained about in various Volkswagen ID products in the past, at least here they are backlit so they can be used at night, a baffling oversight in some other early MEB-based cars. A small shelf sits below the floating section of the dashboard, and a pair of cup holders are located just ahead of a deep, closed cubby beneath the center armrest. Due to the position of the fuse box on the left side of the dashboard, the glove box is very small though. Seats and space in the back seats is very similar to what you'll find in other coupe SUV alternatives such as the FE,